question you're saying. That's our question number 2. Discuss the problems that are faced during the privatization process in your country. So, point number 1, when you're explaining, by the way, do not speculate, because the questions are paper 2 questions. It is your country, so do not speculate. Don't use when, don't use if, and don't use may, and state your points and properly explain them. Here they're looking for problems that are faced during the privatization process, so please bring out those problems and how they are a problem. So our first point is going to be opposition from the public. Opposition from the public. So this is where the people oppose the sale of the public enterprise. So this is mainly due to ignorance. This is mainly due to ignorance among the people. Ignorance among the people, and of course there is ignorance among the people about the benefits of privatization, about the benefits of privatization, and it results into failure of the sale. It results into failure of the sale of the public enterprises to the private individuals. It results into failure of the sale of the public enterprises to the private individuals. Now what I'm trying to show you here is you have to explain and show how it is a problem. Now, opposition from the public, usually people oppose the sale. If you wanted to sell Mulago, you'd see people rioting and demonstrating the sale of Mulago to a particular individual, and that is because they don't know the benefits of privatization. So it results into failure of the sale of the public enterprises to the private individuals. Okay, so other problems include high cost of the process, high cost of the privatization process, and of course when you're explaining, you talk about how it leads to unnecessary increase in the cost of the public enterprise, which reduces the demand of the private enterprises and limits its market. It makes the public enterprise more expensive, limiting the market. So others include high cost of the privatization process. Another good one is corruption within the privatization unit. These are the people who are involved, in the selling of the public enterprise. If you find that they are corrupt, then it leads to losses. So the corruption within, it leads to losses to the government. The government loses a lot of money. Then we also have problems of politicians, so what we call political sabotage. So this is where the opposition come up and they protest the sale of the public enterprise, and of course it usually limits the sale of that public enterprise. Others include poverty among the nationals, which forces the government to sell to foreigners, forces the government to sell to foreigners. It forces the government to sell to foreigners, and of course you have to explain the poverty among forces the government to sell to foreigners, and of course these foreigners are associated with the problem of profit repatriation. So that's how it becomes another problem. And another one is political instability, and of course this is not in all parts of Uganda, but political instability in some parts of the country. Political instability in some parts of the country. It scares away the people who are planning to buy. Easier points include unserious buyers, presence of unserious buyers. These waste a lot of resources, costs, and in the end they do not end up buying, so it is a problem to us as well. It leads to wastage of resources. Then another one is underdeveloped capital markets. Underdeveloped capital markets. Capital markets is where shares and other long-term securities like bonds are sold. So if they want to sell, then they would have to sell through capital markets, but Ugandan capital markets are underdeveloped, meaning most people are ignorant about them, and it actually limits the selling of the selling process of the privatization. It becomes very hard to sell a public enterprise. Then another one is bureaucracy. Of course, never forget that with the government there is always bureaucracy and red tape. Bureaucracy and red tapeism. So this is slow decision making. It actually makes the whole process ineffective, because you find that they take a long time. You have to follow a particular long procedures, which actually reduce or scare away some buyers, and they tend to slow down the privatization process. Then another problem is poor valuation of the enterprises. Poor valuation of the enterprises, and of course this results into losses as well. The value, maybe let us say Mulago Hospital is worth maybe $1 trillion, and then they value it at say $10 billion, which makes it very hard for us to because the government employs its own valuers, so those valuers usually make poor valuation of the enterprises, and in the end, if we sell our enterprise, which is worth 1 trillion at 10 billion, that means we make very huge and heavy losses. So it leads to losses as well. Then of course in Uganda there is always small market. So small market in Uganda. Now foreigners are unwilling to invest in Uganda because of the small market in Uganda. It is not beneficial to invest in Uganda sometimes because of the small market. There are few people who are willing. Think about the recent collapse of these big supermarkets. It's because the market is small, the market is limited. That's why you don't see McDonald's in Uganda, you don't see Burger King in Uganda. It's because there is small market. Big companies are unwilling to bring their products to Uganda because of the smaller market size. Most of the people are poor. So it is actually a problem. So that's the problem. Okay, and then so we have other um, problems we can look at. Maybe is poor state of poor state of the enterprises. Yeah, I'd forgotten that one. Poor state of the enterprises. Of course, the poor state of the enterprises makes it hard to sell these enterprises. So people are unwilling to buy when they find that some of the enterprises are in a very bad condition. So those are some of the problems you can explain, and make sure you state them well like that, and make sure you explain as well. State and put a full stop and then start explaining. And when you are explaining, um, don't speculate, don't speculate, don't abbreviate. These are things which are very important. Don't speculate, don't abbreviate. When you're saying speculate, do not use words like when, don't use words like if, don't use words like in case when you're explaining these points. And make sure you state the point, put a full stop, and then explain. That is in section B. Okay, so that is our question number 2. So thank you.